G'day folks, Sean here from Air Photography. So this video is a follow-up video to a range problem video I made about a week ago. Last week I think I uploaded it, where I kind of talked about some range problems that I've been having with the Mini 3 Pro. And it's not just me, there are many other people who are having signal strength and range problems as well. Now the really complex thing about this problem is that not everybody is experiencing it, and there's probably more people not experiencing it than who are, but there are a significant number of people who are. I even made a poll on my YouTube channel basically asking, if you own the Mini 3 Pro, have you been experiencing range problems with it? And as you can see there, 52% say no, the range is perfect, but 48% are saying they are having range problems. So that is actually a pretty huge number and signifies that there is indeed a pretty significant problem. So I just want to kind of maybe demonstrate this problem further for those who still aren't quite understanding what's going on. This morning I went out and did a range test with the Mini 2 and the Mini 3. I flew them about 5 to 6 minutes apart, the exact same flight path, the same altitude. My Mini 3 was disconnected somewhere approximately about 650 meters, whereas my Mini 2 was out 1500 meters. Now I stopped it because I wanted to retain visual line of sight, but at 1500 meters, I still had full signal strength. This drone probably could have gone a couple more kilometers. And you'll see here in the video when I run them, the Mini 2 was starting to get into more of the thick of the city, but yet was still retaining full connection. Now there's a lot of people being very dismissive about the problem, saying, well, what do you need to fly 3 kilometers for? But what's surprising is they're not really thinking it through. When I fly my Mini 3 and say I get disconnected at 400 meters, long before I get disconnected at 400 meters, the FPV feed starts to break up. It freezes, and really for the most part, you cannot see what you're filming. So it's not about getting out 3, 4, 5 kilometers. It's about maintaining a good solid connection. The Mini 2 I've never had a problem with. I've flown in the same location numerous times, like too numerous to even count, and I've never had a problem. The Mini 3 in that same location, I can't get more than 500, 600 meters. Sometimes less, sometimes more, but it always disconnects and the FPV feed coming back to the controller is just horrible. So I'm going to go ahead here and I'm going to run the videos for you so you can kind of judge for yourself. And then at the end of the video, I have a few other thoughts, and then I'll let you know how DJI has responded back to me about this issue. So here I'm doing the Mini 3 first. Now, as mentioned, both drones are flying at 100 meters. Now, I'm probably going to speed up the video here just so we're not going to have to watch this all day. But as you can see, it's not long before we start going into the orange and even the red for signal strength. And then, of course, then we get a full, complete disconnection. So after that flight, I brought the Mini 3 back, I landed it, and I put the Mini 2 up right away. So we're talking maybe about 5 minutes after the flight with the Mini 3. To keep everything as fair as possible, I put it up to 100 meters as well, and I flew in the same direction. But as you can see throughout this video, I maintained a good solid connection. I think at one point for about a second I lost one bar, but it came back right away. But I was able to fly out 1500 meters. And then I stopped the test because I wanted to retain visual line of sight. But at 1500 meters, I still had full RC strength. I could have continued flying for at least another kilometer. So that comparison shows you that there's definitely something going on with my Mini 3. As mentioned, I know not everybody is having this issue. Some people are having phenomenal range with their Mini 3. If you take a look at Mikey from Philly Drone Life, he did a range test in the city of Philadelphia, which is buildings and Wi-Fi everywhere around him. And he was able to fly like 8,000 or 10,000 feet. And in that video, like he said, he could probably have gone even further. So it's definitely not affecting everybody. And again, it's not about range. You know, I don't need to fly 5 or 6 kilometers with my mini drone, but what I do need is a nice solid connection. So for me, the way it's performing right now, it's completely unusable. Now, a couple things to mention here, because some people might be curious, is that I actually bound my RCN1 to my Mini 3 and did some testing as well. And the results were very similar, so it's definitely not a range issue because of the controller. I was having poor range with the RCN1 as well. I also want to mention that I have the FCC version. This is the same version that all of North America uses. So the signal strength is quite a bit more powerful than the CE version, which many European countries use. Now, I also want to mention that I'm not trying to throw negative light at the Mini 3. In fact, I love this drone. It's actually pretty incredible. This thing has outperformed even my expectations. The video quality that this thing can capture, it has beautiful natural colors. The photos are quite impressive. And of course it flies like every DJI drone. The control of it is really nice. And it even performs really well in the wind. And then you pair it with all the new intelligent flight features, obstacle avoidance. So other than that range and signal strength that I'm experiencing, it's actually quite an impressive little drone. I actually do have a full review of it coming up, maybe perhaps on the weekend. Now, one last thing I do want to address here. I get that some products have glitches and manufacturer defects. In fact, I ordered a new Keurig coffee maker about 3 weeks ago from Amazon, and it came dead on arrival, like just wouldn't power on. And that doesn't mean that all Keurigs are bad, that's just one random unit that had a defect. But when it comes to problems with drones, if they start to trend in Facebook groups or forums, you know generally that there's more of a serious problem. If somebody was to post something random about a drone, a problem that they're having, those posts tend to disappear pretty quickly. Some people will give them some responses, try to help them out, but you don't really see too much about it again. But when there's a problem that arises that multiple people are experiencing, as we've seen with the Mavic 3 and how long it took to acquire GPS, those problems start to trend. You see them on a daily basis, you see them on Facebook, YouTube, forums. We also seen it with the Autel Nano, how there was jello in the footage, and it couldn't fight the wind very well. Again, a lot of people had those problems, so they start to trend. So again, that shows you because that range issue is trending, it's a widespread problem that many people are experiencing. Now, as for DJI's response to me, unfortunately, they haven't been too terribly helpful. I've gotten the standard cookie cutter responses, like make sure you've pointed your controller at the drone. Also, they've just mentioned that certain areas have better range than others, just their standard stuff. But yeah, so they haven't been too terribly helpful. What I'm hoping is that they do acknowledge that there is a problem. So I encourage you, if you are having a problem, make sure you let DJI know, because it's up to us as consumers. DJI is not going to know there's a problem unless we make it known to them. I also encourage you, if you've experienced problems with the range of your Mini 3, make sure you make a comment explaining it down in this video. DJI did watch my last video. They did make a few comments on it. So the more people they see that are having problems, hopefully sooner than later, they will recognize and acknowledge that there is an issue, and perhaps we can get some resolution. Unfortunately for me, I'm probably just going to end up sending mine back because the way it's functioning right now is pretty well unusable for me. I don't know if I'm just going to get a refund or get a replacement. These are kind of in demand right now. There's not really a lot of units available, so I may just have to wait another month before I can get my hands on another unit. Well, folks, that's basically it. That was my range comparison of the DJI Mini 2 versus the DJI Mini 3. Hopefully you enjoyed this video and got some value out of it. Give it a thumbs up if you did. It's always greatly appreciated. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss any of our upcoming videos. And we'll see you in the next one.